I cannot take away my hat as a patient advocate and patient representative. And I want to remind everyone that for us patients, the dream is to receive best possible quality services in most appropriate way. Would it be closer to our homes or at highly specialized clinics abroad, to have kind, happy, and well-educated healthcare providers that are using evidence-based guidelines and are able to analyze our patient-reported outcomes and experiences. Most of us want to participate in research, would it be biobanks, registries, or surveys, and feel safe about our data. And we would like to also pay reasonable price for the services that are both affordable and adequate, but doesn't put us in financial hardship. And not to carry around all our previous medical history printed out for doctors to make life and health changing decisions in 15 minutes. The last time we met at the PEMNET forum and discussed priorities to reach some of these goals, could you shortly describe how closer we have come to creation of a functioning digital health ecosystem and what still needs to be done? Maybe we can start with Ministry of Health, Ms. Balode.
We can definitely start. I hope microphones work.
Yes.
Thank you, Baiba, for a very good memory. I also looked up what I said back then in October, and some of my former colleagues said today that it was zealous time. I was new in the office, 3 months, around that, still willing to change things and very happy having such a wonderful team of colleagues who are also represented today here in the panel. So I remember the first thing I said, that homework for the Ministry of Health is huge. I would say, I still insist on that, it's huge. But as in summer school, you remember that they were in Latvia, we used to have summer school if you are doing bad in certain fields. So you write your essays, you do your maths. I would say that we are there already in the summer school, and we are going through and correcting some of the issues. So in brief, if I could comment, I would say the digital ecosystem depends on close cooperation and good dialogue between many different stakeholders. And if you look what our Minister of Health has done, she has been involved in very thorough, very deep dialogues with different target audiences to see how to prioritize issues. As we all know, health has so many issues and all of them are urgent. And at the same time, I would like to compliment the Digital Health Board that was established in July last year. It's still working and operating, and Baiba, thank you for also being active part in it. What we have done since October, we have realized that we have to prioritize things. We have to determine clear priorities so that October this year I could report already on some work done. And those clear priorities are the same as nationally announced by our minister, and namely, assistance to general practitioners, hospitals, and oncology. So these are the 3 fields where we try to add the value of ICT and not build IT as a separate tool, but see how we can help general practitioners, how we can unite hospitals, and how we can finally launch our new oncology register. What else is important, that we have decided and we insist on designing with patients' involvement, because it's finally a tool that patients should see, as you mentioned before, why we established it and what's the outcome of it. What else is coming up? This spring we will announce about new data exchange modules which are on the way, including the launch of the new oncology register. But there will be some more that my colleagues from National Health Service will announce in the weeks to come. As I mentioned before, priorities help us not only to focus, but also to measure the progress and see the role of technology in health sector, also including artificial intelligence. So Ministry of Health has also 2 working groups currently running. One is on telemedicine, and the other is on the artificial intelligence in the health sector, so that we could have a clear roadmap, what it means for medical sector, how new companies can come in, and what is there for patients to expect, at least a timeline when for my my situation, there will be an AI solution as well. What else? Thanks to Ministry of Economy and also to Gatis, we have established a closer cooperation, and also we are exchanging speakers from abroad, and we participate. I would say I meet daily, not daily, but very weekly for sure. And there is information exchange. And actually yesterday we had the morning of digital breakfast with the Minister of Regional Development. And I think that health is important and health data is important. There is no one who doubts it. But we already are talking at this stage about certain steps, how to move forward. And if we can't provide analytics so necessary for precision medicine, at least some points we can indicate where data is available and when we will put it forward. What Ministry of Health has done internally? This year we have a new position, patient experience specialist, and that specialist is in-house and is actively being involved in all the issues so that those 3 priorities would not skip out of hands without patients' voice to be heard. At this point, we are also recalculating or designing the analytical capacity necessary for the ministry to have proper data literacy in-house and also to move toward data-based decision-making. So that's very brief about the homework done on our part.
Fantastic. It doesn't sound like summer school, and it definitely doesn't sound like detention, because summer schools in patient advocacy is a specific training that we get on different subjects, and I think you are doing very well with the one you are working with. So data is one of the main topics when we speak about digital transformation. There are 2 more days left to submit proposals to the secondary data law. Can you explain briefly what this regulation will cover and what are the major changes for all stakeholders? Will this regulation differ from other countries in Europe?
I hope my colleagues can fill in, but I would say that we're trying to take the best what's currently on the EU level in order to proceed more smoothly, more smarter in the EU data space. And in brief, that will provide greater opportunities for economy transformation if we see data as the main source to influence decisions what to do in which field. So that's one thing for economy, and of course the second thing is data availability for the science and research. However, that leads me again back to my summer school or active working. Of course, the primary data is of utmost importance, and this primary data issue does not disappear with the legal act, but at the same time, it's additional nudge for us to move towards structured data and unified system. So I think we are all there, and we understand that data has to be readable in order to compare and in order to ensure the secondary data use. That's all from me.
Gati, probably you want to comment, because I think that it's one of the very important things which have been achieved since that, and there is a huge role of Ministry of Regional Development.
Yeah, I think during this year or a little bit less than a year, we done a lot of work together with different ministries. We aligned our views, and now we are ready for this week to come with a common view how this regulation could look like in Latvia. And of course, still we have a debate in front of us in a parliament. But I think this currently looks like one of the most major data spaces that we have regarding the regulation part as well. So we hope that this will also the one of the obstacles for more intense work on that was this kind of doubt and unclear waters of the regulatory part. Now, when we are close to solve this, or at least to have more open and specific discussion, I think this will also encourage a more rapid development in the practical applications and use of secondary data use in Latvia as well.
So, as I heard, there is also this cross-sectoral data exchange platform that is close to the finishing stage. Can you describe it a little bit more?
Yes. It is essential when we speak about the new, especially use of the data in health sector or in any other sector. There is a lot of layers we need to take care about to enable this. And one part, of course, is regulatory part, which we just discussed. But then also important is to have these technical enablers in place, and that's what we are working now in parallel at the moment. We are creating the next level or the next version of our national data sharing platform, which will enable more, standardized and agile way how the data could be transferred and exchanged between research institutions and institutions, or between hospitals, and also in cooperation with health sector and the main national hospitals. There's planned also a project which will start probably this next year on data exchange between the big hospitals. So this platform will work as enabler to provide like more rapid way how to exchange the data. Currently, we are at the final phase of the development of the initial release of the platform, and already have the project where we will test it on specific cases. By that, it's also important to have the proper infrastructure for data analysis and data storage in place. And then also we have like a good progress here in Latvia. We were collaborating on the government level with institutes regarding the storage and processing of genomic data, and we'll see some progress this year here. But in parallel, there also had good progress within universities of setting up ICT competence center or shared service center, which will provide the capabilities also for research in universities across all the main universities in Latvia. So we see that also this will drive like a fast development of the research and the technical needs solutions that are needed for that process. So I think we've done a good progress, and this year, next year will bring a lot of new things that will move things forward much quicker.
It sounds like a fast train just running, and we are not missing the train finally, right? In Latvia. Usually it was so that it runs and we are not able to catch up, but this is another case. And I think that all these fantastic initiatives also need support financially. Maybe Ministry of Economics can share some ideas of how they are attracting projects and funding to help this all run faster.
Yes. Firstly, I'm still very proud of job done in terms of how fast and how far we moved with secondary data law, and there is really thanks to partners and main drivers, Ministry of Regional Development. Already at the beginning, it was very important that we start, and this law will regulate how the data can be used for research in legal framework and safely, securely. There is coming European level regulation, we know it, but it was very important that we are before European regulation is there, because it takes time. It takes time to establish structures, it takes time to establish all the necessary regulation. Already, as this faster movement forward shows us that there is we are in front of several majority of European countries in this one. As a benefit, firstly, they're starting to form consortiums and infrastructure providers which can, from day one, to start to implement these data accessibilities. And for this one, our approach is quite simple as Ministry of Economics. In parallel with legal development, we are starting to develop projects which will then, as a pilot projects, will benefit from the law. So they are aimed at market needs and healthcare needs. But from other side, why it is very important, these pilot projects will show what is working and what is not working in legislation, because it's always with new products, you have mistakes. So as soon as possible, we have to figure them out and check it. And the easiest way is this practical project. So we are now, and yesterday was very fruitful in this sense. I think in the morning we discussed digital framework, how the investments will be coming. In the second part, we all discussed about practical projects between local players and international companies, how actually to structure first research program which would benefit from legislation. And so, for example, there is in the field of gastric cancer, there is European level project which is already operational, and we are pushing it forward from Latvia side. But it can be the playground for testing a legal structure. So, and there is big thanks to, large thanks and great thanks to universities. They are establishing centralized unit which will be dealing with information between the universities. So there is, and from our side, coming back to the question, how about money for this one? It is the first and very important stepping stone. If we have a specific project like this one, which is aimed at research, we can and we will consolidate several funding resources available in the Ministry of Economics and in the Ministry of Regional Development and in the Ministry of Health, and most probably in available funding in European Commission to fund large-scale project, which will be the first one. And as I said, it is already in progress. So anybody who is now dreaming or already conducting research in the field of data and medicine overlap, it would be, I would invite them and you to contact, for example, Riga Stradiņu University and discuss whether such a project as you have is in line with available funding mechanisms and join the larger team. So we expect that later this year, around September, we will start to fund, not only decide on funding, but really start to fund first research project. As I mentioned, it will be most probably related to caracal or gastric cancer project. But as soon as we will start, and so already starting from this day, we expect that there will be adding more and more players involved in digital and health research. Second part, so this is part where we will be funding, but what we will be helping to do is supporting this funding too, preparation of European level projects. So this is a major goal. We are not looking for projects which are very important for Latvia. They are nice, but they are too small. We have to find projects which aim is to solve problems on European level and in the same sense which can access funding from European level. So both funding mechanisms through the Latvian National Development Agency and for research through the Latvian Science Council, we invite and will be supporting European level project development and supporting not only financially. We have to keep in mind that this trinity, I would say, in health medicine can help with partners, can help with foreign contacts and funding. So I invite you to use all of these. I think that, and last funding mechanism, of course, last source of funding is everything related to human capital development, which is now not only interest field of Ministry of Economics. Now it is policy field which we are responsible for. Thank you.
Fantastic. It sounds like we will have many new ideas to discuss when we meet next time. And I also wanted to remind that to avoid mistakes in product and services development, you have to engage end users usually to make a better product. Do you have any ideas how to involve patient advocates and patient organizations in this all all the infrastructure, so we can help you from the very beginning to not avoid mistakes.
Yes, and most probably there is more to answer from Ministry of Economics and Ministry of Regional Development, because we are not typically people who are dealing with healthcare clients in professional life. But clearly, this is answer. We do understand this involvement, and based mostly because, as you said, in any business case, and we still looking at this as a business case too. Client is the most important part, so it will define. The client will define whether it is failure or not, and same applies to any. It doesn't matter whether it's research, medicine, or any other. That's why in law, one of the most important part will be commission, which will take decisions whether this research is in line with do the benefits outweigh risks. So it's always a decision when you do the data research. And in this commission clearly will be involved, have to be involved patient representatives. But in discussions about the law, it will return now back to it have to be improved. So we did our homework in terms of structure. Now it returns to the parliament, and parliament will organize again back with all broad spectrum of interested parties discussions about the law. So in both parts. Then most probably we will come to a stage when we will have to develop cabinet of ministers regulation, and in this stage again both commission, which will be responsible for decisions, and all the interested parties, we remember that we have to talk with them. So it's nothing changes. We completely comply with it and do understand the benefits.
I still understand that I will have, and my colleagues will have, lots of volunteer work to help you out, right? And we will never get paid for what we do.
May I add on this, Baiba? I have threefold things I wanted to mention. I was participating this morning at the conference here in Riga Students University called Society, Health and Welfare. And I actually took it from Emil Sundakov's yesterday that trust and reliance is key to many issues, as well as the broken wheel. I would say regarding the trust and cooperation, the progress is magnificent, and we need to keep it. But at the same time, we need to be open and talk about mistakes. And of course, when we look at e-health, you may ask me why the calendar was not the first thing to be developed for doctor, because it's the first tool for him to operate with in the daily life. But I would say that each of those stumbling stones are the ones that made us stronger. And if you look at the individuals, and there are many in health sector who are active and ambitious, ask them how many mistakes they have faced. But the main issue is to get up and keep moving. And I would like to, if I take anything from today's discussion, and I hope you do too, I would say that we all three have something very much in common, and you too. And that is this finding transformative potential. We're looking for pockets of the future in present. And that's why we come together, we go away from conventional thinking and still looking for a hope in the midst of hard days that healthcare is facing. Because you all know how this year's budget went through, and there are many, as I said in the very beginning, many urgent issues to solve. But at the same time, the role of ministry and also collaborative ministries is to close the gap between hopeless situation and take the best from the best situations. And so even the field of health, and there you will have the big potential for the secondary data. So our role is to go together, do things together, because society is looking at us. And they want to have a public sector that's responsive, that's progressive, the same from researchers. And yesterday I heard one researcher who said that actually policymakers are gamblers. So we three are participating in gambling. I hate gambling, but it turns out I do. And then he said it's important to have a rational gambling. And this morning I said that academics should be active part in that gambling process. And maybe we could transform it to something else, and then the professor might refer to another solution. But I think we all go into this uncertainty, and it depends very much on the work we are able to do together. So thanks a lot for all those who have come along all the time and still do that. So thanks. And as for the financing, I would say that we have foreseen for NGOs specific funding. And as Raimonds said, there are cabinet of ministers to be written to lay out the procedure, but there are 3 million specifically designated for that. But apart from that, and not waiting that long, even the working parties we have you on board, not only you, but representatives of NGOs, to build it properly from the very beginning. So thank you.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing. I'm really happy and proud of what you have achieved so far. It's my role to ask provocative questions here. So we have like 1 minute. No, we have no minutes left, but maybe one final word from each of you for what we can expect until October. Like, what are the first things that you would do tomorrow morning and hope that it will be reality in October?
I think one of the strong focuses for us until October will be the regulation of the secondary data use, and we hope to have some progress until the kind of occasion of the parliament this summer, but still maybe it will take a longer period, but still we'll be happy to have very kind of progress with the regulation, because it's like an enabling a part of all those things. So I think this from my side will be the main focus for until October.
So from my side, if I can, yeah. We will finalize projects. So in October, most probably we'll be ready to present, probably not me anymore, but the project holders, what is practical project in terms of using data and cooperating with other European countries. And second one, which I didn't mention there, I remember too what I promised. There is one still not, how to say, implemented part, which is related to the human capital development training education. So education program in October, most probably we'll have to name it and point out how we'll fund it. It clearly is in bioinformatics field, in biomedicine field, where bioinformatics and data science with medicine is overlapping. There are several cooperations possibilities which have been elaborated with US universities, but there is not still finalized in terms of practical educational program where students can apply. So this have to be done till October so that we can name it. So projects which can be put on a stage and which can show what investments is coming, and educational program.
I select one specific topic, that's oncology, and I hope that by October we will show a roadmap when, how, and by which means Latvia will reach the Excellency Center.
I will keep my fingers crossed we all succeed. Thank you so much.